What is up, YouTube, and welcome back to another episode of Life of a Jobbing Plumber. In today's episode, I've got a job that I don't normally do. I've never filmed one, and it's replacing a cylinder, a hot water cylinder. Right, it's not something I want to talk about right now, but the GoPro at this point, the footage had become corrupt, so I've lost 4 minutes of footage on this video. And basically what it is me explaining the job in hand, showing you what it is. So we have a cylinder to take out. It's on economy 7. It's a direct cylinder, meaning it doesn't have a coil for the central heating, if you didn't know. There is 2 immersion heaters to disconnect. And all I'm going to do, and all I was explaining, was I'm going to shut off the main stop tap, because I want to drain the tank in the attic to change the gate valve, which is on the tank cold feed, to the cylinder. I want to replace that with a lever valve. So I'm going to shut off the stop tap, empty the hot water out of the taps, and get a drain off hose on the cylinder that's there at the minute to drain the cylinder out. I think that's what I explained in the video. It was 3 minutes 36 seconds long, the clip that went corrupt. That's not just took me 3 minutes 36 seconds. Anyway, the rest of it should be sound, so enjoy. Come on, baby. That clout on that seemed to make it sound like it was going to come out. Hey. So what I've done for isolating the immersion heaters is I've switched it off on the economy 7 up there and on the fuse board up there, and obviously tested for dead, to which it is. I've just come to remove these immersion heaters, disconnect the cables to the old ones and look at that, that's the earth point. It's just completely corroded away. Oh dear, oh dear. Right, there's blue tape on that, so if I remember that that one is the top one. I don't know why, but blue to top, blue to top, blue to top. As a plumber, you will spend half of your life waiting for water to stop running, whether that's when you're trying to solder up a pipe or trying to empty a tank. A little bit of a progress update. I opened that tap as well to try and speed down the process of emptying the tank in the attic, and that is now empty. So basically we're just waiting for this cylinder to empty so I can move it out. I mean, it is emptying, but not at any rate that I want it to empty. So the plan is to crack off this top nut, maybe cut the pipe out the way further off down here, put a piece of copper down, siphon it out that way, don't know, or try and take that drain off properly and get full blow emptying of this cylinder. See how much patience I have. It's still dead heavy, means it's still got plenty of water in it. Right, whilst I'm waiting for that to empty, I was going to siphon it out, but I realised that I've only got my one hose pipe with me today because I'm a wing nut and the other one is in the garage. I'm going to whip off that gate valve and replace it for a full bore lever valve, just because we all know why I'm going to take that out, because them are absolutely garbage. Even though it looks new, there's probably nothing wrong with it. I've not even touched it, but in future maintenance, if I need to touch it, I'd rather it be a lever valve. So I've got my lever valve on up there, which isolates the water from the tank to the cylinder. That gate valve weren't looking too bad, to be honest, but it's done away with now. I could potentially now turn the main water back on, fill the tank in the attic, and then that'll be a job done whilst I'm still waiting for this to empty. However, I'm not going to do that because sod's law, I'd need to move that, get that lever valve I've put on, or something along them lines. I'd knock it when I'm trying to connect up to the bottom end, I don't know. So yeah, I'm not going to do that just yet. I'm going to be patient and wait for this little guy to empty, which it is. It's getting there, slowly but surely. So I've just made life a little bit more easy. Took off the battens, the shelves that were in there. Don't know why I left them on, to be honest. It's made it look miles more accessible, even though it's probably not. And then I thought I'm going to try and slide it out with water still in it. However, I can't, because at least that bit there is stopping it from coming through the door. So I'm going to have to wait just a little bit longer for it to empty out, and then I can remove that tank connector union at the bottom. And in theory, it should slide out. I'm kind of hoping that it's millimetre perfect to slide through that door casing. The new one is the exact same size and width, so that's not good. Well, that was a ball ache, and now I can see how they managed to get it in. They shaved half the insulation off. I reckon I'm going to have to do the exact same. It's not ideal because obviously reducing the energy efficiency of that cylinder now, but what else am I supposed to do? Whilst I've been waiting for that, I got an old to new coupling in because I wasn't sure if this was old or new. And just to check, I always put a old to new end feed coupling on, and it is 22mm, not 3/4. One little win. Always look for the wins. So yeah, it's Sunday morning now. I've got a little bit of time on my hands. I'd rather have the job prepped as much as possible so I can be in and out basically. The property's empty, hopefully have a good little run at it. So obviously it's an economy 7 cylinder. We have 2 immersion heater points on this. Our hot outlet, which I've ordered, I picked up a bent tap connector. This will either be the tank cold feed or a drain off, and vice versa on that, just whichever lands best. Now it's been a long time since I've actually done a cylinder swap, or really anything on a cylinder. These joints here, these tank connectors are tapered, and the flanges on the actual cylinder are kind of flat with a little bit of a taper on. As you can see, it fits in there like that. So what I do is, before, well obviously after I've soldered it up, otherwise I'll melt the PTFE, is wrap 5 or 6 runs of PTFE around that, just to give it some sort of seal. Some people probably maybe just paste them, I don't know. It's been a long time since I've done one, so I'm kind of trying to remember what I used to do in the past. And same with these 2 on the sides. Problem is with brand new cylinders, all the threads come with this sprayed insulation stuck to it, so you need to clean them out before ending on the actual connectors. So I've gone for the Tesla 14-inch immersion heaters. Obviously you couldn't go any bigger than 14-inch because it won't span across the tank. It's got to go in there across the other side. 11-inch would have been fine, but 14-inch will give it as fast a recovery rate as possible. I've gone for the copper ones as opposed to the stainless steel or titanium, I think they are. You've got to be aware that you can't use the copper ones in a hard water area because it'll just rot straight through them. And I'm obviously in a soft water area, so it doesn't really matter. It comes with a fibre washer. Now how I do these is I take the fibre washer off with great difficulty, slide it up there, and then I'm going to run some paste around this flat face of the immersion heater. Again, I've not done this in years. I'm trying to remember what I used to do. I have actually heard people fitting immersion heaters in with rapid blue, the liquid PTFE. Now I love Rapid Blue, but only on such things like radiators that you can, because if you ever need to remove it, what you need to do is warm up the radiator, or well, the point of where it's fused in, and then it'll undo. Can you imagine trying to warm up an immersion heater? Just, no. Alright, so paste on the bottom end, slide your fibre washer back over, grab yourself some PTFE. I'm gonna wrap, I don't know, I say the second one might end up different to the first one, but this is trial and error. I'm gonna go for 20 wraps, like you would an outside tap, just around the threads. Right, I changed my mind. I only did 10 wraps, and I'll explain why. Now, I only did 10 wraps because on a radiator valve, you're trying to get the threads to seal, I suppose. You don't bottom out, there's no washer. Whereas this is obviously a fibre washer. Now that's going to be the point of the seal. I've just done the threads to stop any, well, just belts and braces. So I want that fibre washer to sit against this flat surface. It's not really flat, is it? So yeah, I didn't want to put too much PTFE on. 10 might have been too much. 10 might still be not enough. We'll find out in about 30 seconds. But yeah, I'm going to put some more paste now around that fibre washer and get it in the cylinder. So far so good. Well, I found the box part of it, just not the bar. Well, it's tightened up nice and tight, but as you can see with the way the insulation is, you can't even tell. So we'll try the bottom one, doing exactly the same method. Another thing I can prep up is one of these straight tap connectors, as it's going to be the drain off. And obviously these are end feed, so we're going to need a 22 to 15mm feed reducer and any drain off point. Obviously I've took out the washer, because when I solder this up now, there's going to be a lot of heat, especially with the brass. The brass takes a lot longer to heat up than the copper. It would melt the rubber and the drain off would become, well, defunct. I was going to say defunct, and then I thought, is that even a word? I'm still not even sure if it's even a word. So in the past I've had quite a few comments of, how do you solder? There's miles more people out there who can solder better than me. So you flux up the male point of the fitting. There's no need to flux up inside the fitting, because if you do that, when you're pushing your male side, it just bunches up at the end. It's just unnecessary. So you flux up the male part of the fitting, slide it into female, and I turn it at the same time. Look at all that excess that's just come out. That, again, male side of the next fitting. Hopefully I won't need to explain why there's male and female. Push in, slide, and then I'm going to get a wet rag. This is what makes your joints neat. So the wet rag is to wipe off your excess. There's no need for that to be there. That's what causes snotters and runs. Another important point now is you leave it to cool for a couple of minutes. If you leave it to cool naturally over a couple of minutes, one, you reduce the risk of shocking the fitting and cracking it. If you've put a cold rag against a red hot fitting, there's a chance it'll shock it and crack the solder joint you've just done. So yeah, just leave it to cool naturally, a couple of minutes. And obviously, like I said before, brass takes longer to heat up, brass takes longer to cool down. Got to wipe off all the excess flux, otherwise it'll go green. And then some people will then wire wool it, mainly Instagram plumbers. Yeah, it's not the neatest joint. That's where I obviously loaded it up. Probably not the best advert for neat solder. Right, now I don't know which bottom connection this one's going to be going in, so I can't do any more to that. However, when I do put it in, 5 or 6 wraps of PTFE around that, a little bit of paste on top of it. I know people say you shouldn't PTFE and paste. The paste will attack the PTFE. Never ever have I seen that happen, but People say it. And then obviously just tighten that up, nip it up, put the washer back in. That'll be the drain off part done. That is probably all I'm going to be able to do for preparation for this job tomorrow, the one you're seeing now. Let me know in the comments, do you ever prepare for jobs like this? Or is it just me, severe weirdness? In my head, all I want to be doing is going in tomorrow, shutting the stop tap off, opening the hot water tap, getting a hose on the drain off on the cylinder, letting it empty out whilst disconnecting the 2 immersion heaters on the existing cylinder. Obviously making sure testing for dead, safely isolated on the electric side, whipping the old cylinder out, sliding the new cylinder in, and fitting in reverse order. That's all I want to be doing. In and out. Maybe I could have prepped the immersion heaters whilst waiting for the water to drain down. Oh well. Right, I shaved a little bit off, nice and neatly. Didn't even get close enough to get the copper, to nick the copper with the saw like they had, and I managed to spin it in. However, I have got a drain off, well, an open point, which is probably going to have to be blanked off down behind the back of there, so I'm going to have to do that, spin it in the room cupboard it's in now, put that bit in, and pray to God when I fill it up it don't fecking leak, otherwise we're in a whole world of pain. Obviously the hot will do whatever the hot wants to do, and the tank feed, I'm going to use this one. Round and up with a drain off sticking out virtually the same as they've done. That has took 1 hour and 20 minutes for that cylinder to empty. So I'm going to crack on. I'm going to get that drain off set up, which you've seen me do yesterday. You've seen me prep that up. I'm going to have to put another drain off here. That really should be a blank. Anyway, it is what it is. It is what it is. So before I do anything else, I just thought I'd show you where I'm up to now. I've got a piece sticking up there. I'll worry about connecting it onto the tank valve up top after. Most importantly is getting this in. So I pressed all of these out of position. I've had it in once, marked them all up with where I want them pressing, pulled it out, pressed. And then when I'm not pressed is that, because that's because I can get to that afterwards. Obviously PTFE and paste on that tank connector. Get it in, tightened up, and I can swing the cylinder back into the position that I want it in. Right, I've just pulled my finger out. Yes, that could have been a hand pulled offset bend, but I'm built like a beanstalk. A bending 22 is hard work. And I'm lazy. So yeah, just pressed a couple of 45s in there. Got our hot feed connected straight back up. Isolation valves off. So in theory now, everything's tight down there. We're ready for opening the stop tap up and letting that tank fill up first. As soon as I can hear it stop filling, as soon as I hear it stop filling, I'll open the valve to the cylinder. We'll start filling up, and whilst we're doing that, I will wire up our immersion heaters. I'll show you how to do one and then do the other off camera because that is boring. Bash. So in regards to wiring immersion heater up, it's pretty straightforward. Your cable's got to go through the little cable clamp there. Your earth is going to go onto this little brass washer and then tighten on with the nut there. Your neutral is going onto this pin here. This is obviously your thermostat, and your live goes into the side of your thermostat, just there, tightening down here. Obviously don't forget to set your temperature of your thermostat before you leave. Yeah, that is how it goes on. So earth connected, live connected, neutral connected, all tightened up. And just as I finished that, the tank in the attic stopped filling. So that's now full. So we will open up the lever valve. As you can hear, that's now started to fill. I'll open up a tap in the kitchen just so it's got somewhere to push the air out, and as soon as that starts running, that cylinder is full. Pray to God that there is no leaks, especially on that drain off connection down there. Obviously the tank's now full, cylinder's full, shut them two off. I'm now gonna get a power back onto these immersion heaters. I've left the lids back off just so I can double check that they are working. However, I could just run a non-contact voltage tester down it, just to make sure it's getting power. But yeah, and I'm gonna sit and have my dinner for 20 minutes, so hopefully then we'll have a little bit of hot water. Insulate the pipework after dinner from what I can, for what it's worth. And that'll be tidy up, and this one will be another job done. So this TPI multimeter which I use, one connects to the iPad. I don't know if you've seen the video on that, so you can Bluetooth it across and watch it on an iPad display instead of opposed to your small voltage screen. You can screen record it then and send it to your client if needed, but it's also a non-contact tester, so at the minute the bottom immersion heater is not on, so no noise. Now I made it sound like I knew why the bottom immersion heater wasn't on, but I don't. So the hot outlet at the top is getting nice and warm, meaning it's doing its job. No idea what's going on with the bottom immersion heater. It's not getting any power to it, so it's obviously something to do with this Economy 7 time clock. No idea how they work, but I've spoken to the customer, he says yeah. It's hard to explain, but I'll sort it out. Well, anyway. That is what it is. Most important thing is I did not check whether the door will shut. Whew. Yeah, still got to carry on tidying up, insulate them pipes, but obviously I want to get it up to temperature and make sure it's providing adequate hot water. And I'm still charging batteries because I'm a tight sod and don't like doing it at home using my own electricity. Anyway, I'm going to terminate this video there because it's going on far too long for just a cylinder swap. So as usual guys, thank you very much for watching. Don't forget to give this video a like. Don't forget to subscribe if you haven't done already. It's absolutely free to do so. Ring the little bell on the channel homepage if you want notifying of the videos when they go live. And if you want to drop a comment down below, go for it. I love reading through your comments. Sometimes I do not get time to reply, but it means me the world of good. And if I like the comment, it means I've read it. Catch you on the next one.